Okay, everybody, good evening and welcome to our Monday night connection. And thank you for those of us who are joining us here every week, and those of people who are hosting us. And if you're actually interested to host us and bring your friends and bring these blessings to your house, we gladly will accommodate and find the right time to do it. So this week, again, I want to remind you as we spoke, there are 7 weeks between Passover, which we started. And again, I spoke about it last week. I just want to make sure that some of us weren't here last week or didn't listen to the recording, just to understand the cosmic situation, which we are in the 49 days between the energy of what we call Passover to the energy of what we call Shavuot, which is the revelation of the Torah, the revelation of the ultimate vessel or tool that can help us or will help us completely remove chaos from the world. So for that, you have what we spoke in Passover, receive a tremendous light, and right day after it leaves to allow us to do the work. So we want that light back, but every week geared to Shavuot, it's to build another what we call mechanism. So let's say, for example, some of us are getting burned out very quickly, or getting I cannot handle it, or too much pressure, I'm shutting down, or someone blame me something, I feel victim, or right away there's no mechanism to handle this type of energy. Even if someone that you really love or loves you, they tell you something right away, there's no mechanism. This is what we're building. And we know in machines they do it, in cars they do it, that can handle, let's say, a dry road or wet or so forth, right? There's different functionality. We want to establish that every week as we progress. This is what should be our consciousness. I'm building a mechanism, a system. So every lesson that we learn throughout these weeks help us building this type of system. What is this week is about? This week called Emor. Speak to or say to, right? Emor el Cohanim. Now, this is a beautiful understanding as we grow into the class tonight. First of all, is our voice, right? We all, again, we speak about the Emor el Cohanim, say to the priests, right? The week starts in this type of conversation. So he says, Emor el Cohanim, speak to the priest, right? What does it mean? We're talking about the priests who were in the holy temple or in the desert that Moses assigned each one of them. That's what we're talking about. We don't have priests today. Even the Cohanim of today are not as a function as Cohanim. The Kohen is a priest, But we learned in the system there is Kohanim, priests, Levites, Leviim, and Israel, right? Which represent the 3-column system, which the initial of Kohanim, Leviim, Israel is the word Kli, vessel, right? So we know in order to build a vessel, like I said before, mechanism or a system where you can handle more light, more energy, more, if somebody pressure you don't feel pressure, you feel a push, you feel a drive, you feel awakened from that. Or any negative thing that comes, you're not going to be rattled by that or scared, right? You're going to keep going no matter what. If you're not there, meaning you don't have a proper vessel to handle it. That's what we're building right now. This is what I said, the Kli is the vessel. It's indicated by building a system that can handle more, that can see more, and that can have more. Why don't we have, like we call orech ruach, right? More patient with people, right? Because our vessel is so small, it's filled up right away. We can't handle it. They say, we can't handle it when they say yes. We can't, we can handle it when they're not going to give us an answer. This is what we're building. This is what we want. For that, you have to speak to the priest. So should I go to the priest in the church or in the synagogue and talk to them? Absolutely not. It's nothing to do with the physical appearance in the story or what it's written. The Kabbalists always indicate that all what you're learning here is how to tapping into your priest. Each one of us is a channel. What is a priest? The priest was a channel for the light. It was a undivided attention only for the light. Only focus on the light of the Creator to reveal to this world. Most of us, what are we focusing on? Revealing my own light, my own ego, how much I'm going to be known, right? Most people say, I want to be heard. I want my voice to be heard. That when you have that, again, it's a great desire. But when it's I want to be heard, and it's not the Kohen, the priest within me, which we represent by channel of light, that's what it means. Call voice, right? The voice has to be dressed with the right letters, the right words, right? So let's say you have a word and you have to combine a voice into the word, right? Then you have the air that comes. So in speaking up, there are different mechanisms that needs to take place. The air that comes out, the sound, which is the call, the sound, okay? And the actual word, that you combine that together, that you clothe the voice within a word. Most of us just want to say the word. We don't want our voice. Voice represent a channel. Voice meaning the sound, a call. The voice represent a channel between the upper world to this world. Upper world meaning doesn't mean up there in heaven as you call it. Upper world is your consciousness, your upper being, your higher self. Most of us don't have access on a regular basis to our higher self because most of the time we're functioning on need base, on animalistical base. So our voice, what type of voice animal have, right? Not much. So therefore, we want to achieve a connection to our voice. What is voice? Again, not the word that you're going to say. You have to understand the difference. I share with you again because I know sometimes it's really above some of us pay grade, or we're missing out. There is the words that I'm speaking right now. Words without sound are not being heard because I can speak. You hear me? No, you don't hear me. Therefore, you need to add the combination of the voice. Kabbalah call it Zeir and Pin. We call it a connection to being a channel. So the voice is not just that you can say a voice to the word, is that it's going to tap in the highest level of a connection. That voice, that sound come from a very, very high place. Like today, everybody knows there's, everybody familiar with sound meditations or frequency or for meditation, for all kind of thing that people using megahertz to this and whatever, right? Because everybody understands even sound that you cannot hear have an influence. So again, this is what we want to connect and open this week. And obviously to build that, so eventually this year we will be able to be heard. Many people screaming or venting or saying things and nobody hearing them. That is the reason, because their voice, the call, the voice is not really plugging in to being a channel. So based on the words, you join a voice. So now we're going to speak about it and how we can increase our, it's not about being a vocal or speak up. It's about connecting to the right energy that will bring down to this world in the words that you're speaking way more power, way more weight. So to this world. So now, the word Emor, as I said before, is also the word Emor, which speak or tell or speak to the priest. But if you look at the word, and again, for those of us who are not familiar with the language, the Hebrew letters have deeper secrets. So therefore, sometimes we playing with the letters. I call it playing because we move the orders of the words or of the letters, and it doesn't mean I change the energy of the word. I just rearrange the letters so I can reveal more secrets that behind that. Okay, so when you look at something this way, let's say, for example, happened to you before that you had a friend that did something wrong. Okay, and you kind of like judging them. And then you go to your friend or somebody that is like a little bit more, maybe another friend of Kabbalah, and and all of a sudden they speak to you and they tell you, wait a second, maybe that didn't happen this way. Maybe that person meant this way, or maybe the lesson is that. And all of a sudden they change their perception of the situation or about that individual. And all of a sudden you feel, oh, you know what? It makes sense. Maybe I didn't see it right? So this is the same idea. Every word that the Kabbalist is using, and again, specifically, if I remind you many times, I always go to the headline, right? To the headline of the portion, which is the name. And it tells you a lot just by the name. You know, I can sit here and talk to you a few hours just about this word. It's amazing. I was starting to write about it, and different Kabbalists write about it. And all of a sudden I realized I don't need even to go to the story because the name already tells me so much. So what does it mean, Emor? It says to speak, to say. But it's also the word amur, supposed to. Meaning we're supposed to be a Kohen to this world. Emor el Cohanim, amur liot Kohanim. We are supposed to. We meant to. That's the word. So when you read it literally like that, you say, oh, speak to. But you can read it differently. And it's okay from a Kabbalistic point of view. Of course, not for just to make it sound like the way you want, but we understand that what it means that we meant to be in a place that our voice will be heard, that we will be a channel for the Creator, for the light of the Creator. So, step number one, if we are supposed to get it, if we meant to be in that place, what is the first step that can help me, each one of us, being a Kohen, being a priest, first of all, for our life? Second thing is the people around you. And third, if you can increase it, being a channel for the world. What would be this first step? And I'm going to take you on a journey for the next 25, 30 minutes. So stay with me and really pay attention to the sequence of the events that are happening right now, okay? So first of all, what is the goal? Right? Being a channel for this world, being a channel, being a Kohen, awakening the Kohen, the priest within you. It's not someone you're sitting there and you confess, or somebody sitting in the holy temple. Absolutely not. We don't have them anymore. That's why the Kabbalah says when you read about it, it's as if you activate the force of the priest within you. If you know how to use your voice, remember, voice is not it's not the physical voice, and it's not the word that you say. It's how it's plugging in to be a channel for this world. That's the voice called Zeir Anpin. So step number one, in order to be a channel, right? One need to take upon themselves what we call responsibility. Taking responsibility. Step number one. It's all dependent there on that consciousness. How responsible you are. Why? Because in order to understand this tremendous power of taking responsibility, we need to go to something else. Okay, so I'm not probably not going to look at you because I typed everything on my computer. I put it on my computer, so I'm going to read from the computer the notes that I put. So maybe I'm not going to look at you per se. So first of all, in order to take responsibility, we need to understand what does it mean, values. Values. Let's speak a little bit in terms of values. Now I'm sure everybody here, everybody home, everybody gonna listen to it. You have something that you call value, what you value or what you don't value. Is it correct to say to everybody? I value this, I value my friendship, I value my teacher, I value my parents, I value this. I don't value this, I don't value that, right? We all have. But I'm talking about what are the values that you live by? What are the values that you live by? Set of rules. People call it principles. But I'm talking about what is the, we call it arachim. What is the values that you live and you guide your life by? Most of us, as I said before, right? Generating values throughout life because of someone told me this is we value, right? We value this, we value that. Now let me put in this way. All values that we have come and combine with pain and suffering. Any value. If you want to hold any value, you pay attention, it has a level of suffering within it. For example, in order to eat healthy, anybody value eating healthy? Yeah, I value clean food. I value clean environment. I value clean air. It's involved. I value children. I value it's involved with suffering, right? To go to the gym. It's suffering. Some people say, oh yeah, I love going to the gym. If you're going to the gym and you're suffering, you haven't gone to the gym, right? What do you mean suffering? Pain, sweating, taking the clothes, wearing the clothes, changing for this. When I'm going to do it is in the middle of the day, right? Suffering, confusing, right? You can, eating healthy, suffering. Eating there's no salt, dry food, right? All kind of like greens, you become like like a vegetable almost, So in a way, it's suffering. Eating this type of like I don't even know the words, like this quinoa and all kind of stuff, right? Whatever the crackers from nothing, right? Suffering. So it seems like, oh, I value children, right? Suffering. You cannot have that a real value if it's not combined with some kind of pain that you're inviting. It's not pain that forced on you, it's pain that you're inviting. Is that right? Everybody on the same page. So if you look closely, most of our value, or let's put it this way, most of our suffering in life today, and for those of you who are not in Kabbalah for a while, most of our suffering in life is because we have the wrong values. That's part of the problem. So I want to understand what is our values. I want each one of us to do maybe a list of what do you value in your life? What are the values you live by, or you run your business by, and so forth. First, I would like you to check who gave you that value. Why you adopted that value. Very important. Very important. Is the environment? Who planted that idea that that's my value? Is it a commercial, right? Is it a sticker, bumper sticker that makes me value that? Is it in school? Is it where? Where does it come from? Is it my family, right? What is your higher values, right? Or supernal values? What are they? So we have to go a little bit deeper in your values. I'm not going to go into all the class about values, but I want to focus on that idea. Most of us adapted values, and we don't even know that they are the source of pain and suffering. For example, anybody value honesty? I value honesty. Not when I say to people, when people telling me, or when I tell people, not when telling me, right? Because I value honesty, be direct, but not you, right? We always have like I rather people tell me straight in the face. When they tell you straight in the face, not when you prepare, I'm not value listening from you, I'm listening from them. So again, most of our values are in a way interacted with, I would say, serving us in a way. So let's understand a little bit more, and I will share with you why it's important to, I don't want you to drop all your values, but I want you to park them this week and make a list of them. What am I value, right? And where does it come from? And why did I adapt to that? And how much I believe in that value, okay? So for example, I'll give you a few examples. Because most of us deciding from an external reason to adopt a certain value because it's the right thing to do. It's because it's going to make them happy. I know they value that, so I'm going to go and I'm going to do that. I know they value when I'm coming on time or when I'm doing that, so I'm going to do that. Happened to you before? Because people value that, so you do it because of them. Many of us, I know they're going to value that and they're going to appreciate that. I know that they value a lot and note and they value this and they value that. So I'm doing it, but because other people would like it. And eventually, I really don't believe in it, but I'm doing it because they value that. Already start the suffering. Already start the pain. Doing something, yes, to make somebody else happy. But if you continue that over and over because of that, eventually you lose yourself. So for example, another thing, some people, like myself, before any spiritual process, I only value money. Anything else, I don't care. Value money. I have money, I'm good. I don't have money, I'm not good, right? Something is wrong. If I didn't make money today, something is wrong, right? Dysfunctional. If I make money today, I guess I'm good today. Or some people, I make money, God loves me. I don't make money, God doesn't love me. Or kind of fluctuation like that. What is the problem? If you put a value on money, you're already in a suffering situation. Why? Because if you're not going to make money, I don't value myself. Or if you look at people without money, do you value them? Opinion? No, they don't have money. They're not successful. I'm not going to value their opinion. Already creating suffering in your life. So obviously, if you fail today, right? You don't value failure. Therefore, I don't value people that are failed in their life. Or many other things, like, for example, anybody value family? Oh, that's a big one. I value family, yeah. But, what happens if you live in a family of abusers? Yeah, that's why I value family, so I need to suffer. But they're abusing you, taking advantage of you, beating you up, making your life miserable. You're working like crazy and you pay for this. But they're abusers. They're not spiritual. They didn't wake up and grow or whatever it is. But because I value family. Many others, tradition. Oh my God. That's a whole another conversation that we need to speak about in different times. But in general, I would definitely question all our values. And if any value that you have is because of others, it's a source of suffering and pain to your life. Be aware why you're adopting this. So therefore, throughout my education in Kabbalah, in the last 25 so year, what I did is I didn't, because I came, with already established and know what I want and know how I business, and all of a sudden, I had to, as I said before, and I'm telling you, don't drop any values before you understand where you come from. So I had to really see, because growing up in Israel, there's many values, right? That are the, for example, I value giving back to the country, right? But so I went to the army, but it didn't let me do what I want to do. So I end up being, for years, I'm suffering in doing something because I value to give back, but I'm not doing something I like. Okay, so is it really, you understand? So the fact that I value, contribution and giving back and helping and so forth, but it didn't let me serve the way I wanted to contribute, right? So end up being for a few years, you're just suffering. I want you to understand it's not bad or it's not good. It just, it's better that if you already have a value of something, let it use for your advantage. And therefore, the first value that I would share with you, a Kabbalistic value, this is absolutely just a Kabbalistic value, is what we call taking responsibility. In this way, when we see, please put yourself on mute. The Kabbalists put a very high level of a value on taking responsibility. That is, if you want to study Kabbalah from the beginning, this is what you want to work on. You can't have any, because, I said many times, and I'm going to share with you tonight, many people say, with great power comes great responsibility. Is that how they say it? Right? Wrong. Nobody in the world will give you power unless you are responsible for that. It's all in a way of the ego. Yes, they got power, but real power, real light, it's not going to get to anyone's system unless they build mechanism of responsibility. Now, again, I'm not talking about you playing games with your friends and you play basketball, right? Hoops, whatever, and you elbow your friends. Says, oh yeah, my bad, my bad. That's not responsibility. I heard somebody else says, I'm sorry, my bad. That doesn't mean you're responsible. Or let's say you have a team and the team fail, my responsibility because I'm the head of the team. Again, yes, majority of the people will never do it, but I want to take it to the next level of what it means, responsibility, because this value is called Berumo Shel Olam. The Kabbalists call it is in the top of the world, this one thing. So we're going to start with that later on as we adapting more new values, if you wish. First of all, in matter of responsibility, I want to, first of all, to be responsible. The ultimate goal is to whatever happening or not happening within me and within this world, it's within my responsibility. Let me say it again. Anything that happening or not happening in the world or in my life, within me, outside of me, it is within my responsibility. And again, I'm going to say it again. What happening in my worlds, you're not responsible to other people's worlds. Each one of us have living in our own world. Meaning, if you saw it in your life, if you saw it in your movie, if you heard that in your life, if it's happening not just to you, but around you, or in the days where you're alive, it is your responsibility. What do you mean by responsibility? How is it connected? Again, if you study for a while, you understand the idea of quantum, you understand the idea that everything is connected. And if you understand that idea, because last week we spoke about the law of unity, which is the two souls, no matter how far they are always in unity. And we influence each other. So if I understand that whatever is happening in this world right now, it's my responsibility, and it's within my power to change it and to influence in greatness to this situation. If you're alive in this world right now, it's because you can contribute to what's going on, good or bad. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because, there's a story. Again, I want to share with you a story that it really speaks loud to me. This one father wanted to bring his child, he turned 13, he wanted to give him a blessings by a Kabbalist. And so one afternoon, one evening, they're going to see the Kabbalist. So they enter to the room, and the father says, I want you to bless my child, he's a guy, he's about to become a man, and he needs the blessings. He says, okay. Start talking to the child. What's happening? Did you, what are you doing? Where did you go? Where are you coming from? So the child says, oh, we just came from I don't know, for our time, baseball game. We just came from a baseball game. My team, the New York team, was playing. And he says, and who win? What happened? He says, no, we left, in the, three-quarter of the game, we already left. He says, why? Because, our team is already losing either way. So there's no point. We left. So he looked at the child and he asked him, wait a second, did everybody also in the field left because they're about to lose? He says, no, they have to stay. Obviously, again, the story continues a little bit more, but this is the idea. Are you a player in this world? Are you a person who sits on the bench? Are you a person who sits in the crowd and cheering? Are you a person who don't even go to the game? Right? Are you a person who don't even care about that game anymore? Don't even know that it exists? There are many different layers of people in this world. And for those of us who are in the field, for those of us who are player in this game, the game of helping the world, changing the world, helping people, being of service for the world, those of us, you need to ask yourself, are you drop your friend before they were able to connect? Or I connect them, it's on them, right? Most of us are halfway, we're leaving. Or if we see that there's no continuation, we stop. Or if there's we didn't get what we want, we're not playing the game. Okay? How many of us sitting on the sideline? Let's wait. 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 You think there's something going to happen for you waiting? No, it's not going to happen. So obviously, taking responsibility is being somebody on the field and never leave until the game is over. This should be our consciousness. That should be the consciousness of the Kohen. The Kohen never leave before the job is done. Imagine halfway, I'm tired. I need to take a break. No, the world is dependent on how much cleansing you're going to do for the world. Right? So, most of us, when you have that power of responsibility, again, we need to understand that when a person have or receive tremendous power, that power will not confuse him and will not corrupt him. If he works, she works, they works on taking responsibility. That's an indication that no matter how much power you're going to give that individual, they're never going to be corrupted. Because the first initial value is taking responsibility. No power will corrupt that individual. Think about that. So, now, who received the power to change the world? Who received the power to make a dent in the world or make a difference in the world? Only the people who take absolutely seriously responsibility. They get access. There are people who knows I'm not living. Imagine you have a company, you build a company, like, oh, I'm going home. What do you mean? It's my responsibility. I can't just go home, right? Ask yourself, what type of individual are you? Okay, are you a person that people forcing you to be responsible or to take more responsibility. Like, oh, I don't want to have enough, or you've been forced to, or you're choosing to take responsibility. Are you waiting that, nobody gave me the responsibility, so I'm not doing, they should give me the name tag with I'm the responsible one, then I'm going to do it. Or they should give me the title, then I'm going to be responsible. No, it doesn't work this way. It has to awaken each one of us. That's when we're performing what we call free will. If you're using your free will, not to, I want to buy this couch or I want to buy that chair, is I want to choose the absolute uncomfortable life of taking responsibility for the world. And again, that should be your daily conversation with your sender. You call it God, you call it light, you call it energy, you call it universe, you call it whatever you want to call it. I don't care. But you have to talk to that system in every single day. You know what? My employee doing this, my mother tell me this, my sister doing that, my friend doing this. What my conversation should be? Okay, light, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. What is my responsibility here? That should be your conversation, your spiritual conversation, your one-on-one conversation with the creator of this world, right? Is where do you want me, where do you need me to take more responsibility, right? Show me. Is it my responsibility? Should I do more about it? That should be your daily conversation. What people talking to the creator about? No, my soulmate. I need help in this deal. Just protect this, just protect all kind of things that are not important. Keep asking more and more and more. Obviously, the answer is always going to be no. This is how you're strengthening yourself. This is how you're strengthening your responsibility in the world, but also you're strengthening your connection with the higher power. Because if not, you cannot be used as a Kohen. Remember the goal, okay? So now, the next step for that is going back to the word of Emor. The word Emor, now this is a little bit deep, but I have to share with you because this is what will allow you to be an absolute channel for this world in anything you do. Again, I'm not saying today, if you work on it in these weeks, there's a spiritual support, cosmic support to this work. The word Emor is, as I said before, to speak, to say, to tell, right? But if you switch the letter more, you get the word Mora. Emor, Mora. Mora is come from the word fear. More Shamayim, okay? Mora Shamayim or so forth. They call it, if you heard about it in religious terms, they call it fear of heaven. Have you heard about it? Everybody, if you around religion, they use it a lot. A fear of heaven, they call it, fear of the supernal heaven. Or fear of God, they call it in a way. But that idea, that word, that consciousness, if you understand it really in the right approach, as I said before, you just need to change the perception, right? And then you understand the world is open for you, that connection open for you. This word gives you an ability to connect to all forces of creation. This word, this idea is depending on that idea. And again, I know in this class I'm making it, I'm condensing everything as much as I can, but if I have time, we expand it for a couple of hours. But I'm keeping it, as simple as I can. These are very complex situations, so please bear with me. I know some of that is like, okay, I get it. It's like I'm biting my tongue many times. There's a verse that is based on here. And I'm gonna say it in the Gemara language, but then I'm gonna explain it a little bit more. He says the Yehi Ratzon may be will or desire, shetehe mora shamayim, that fear of heaven, shamayim alechem kemora basar vadam, like the fear of flesh and blood. Now this is come from what we call one of the Kabbalists. This is beautiful. Lives in buried in Tiberias, and Yochanan ben Zakkai. And again, I don't want to go into the story, but this is what he blessed all his students. He blessed all his students about it, right? This is the word emor, mora, right? What does it mean? Fear. We all have fears. Fears also from the physical world, right? Or from human. We all have fear from that individual, or for fear from our parents. As younger, you have fear of hurting an individual as well, or fear of some kind of a leader or a crazy leader, or even if you're in a foreign country, or even if you're in a neighborhood, all of a sudden you're scared from people in a foreign neighborhood that you don't know, and so forth. Obviously, if you have more fear from human being or fear from the Creator, what would you say? Most of people are afraid of more in the physical world, catastrophe in the physical world, physical damages, people hurting them, people manipulate them, right? You have to be afraid of people. But a lot of people don't have fear of the spiritual application, right? The spiritual world and how it's applied to our life, and what is the consequences of spiritual damages. People don't know. They know physical damages. If I curse somebody, they might smack me. I'm afraid. Why don't you go in the street, right? And you tell people what you think about them. You're afraid they're gonna hurt you, right? Or even if you're driving here in New York or anywhere, right? And you're afraid if somebody's like honking and you're gonna honk back, and you're afraid what's gonna happen. Who knows what the lunatic gonna come out, right? So there's a certain fear of flesh and blood, of physicality. Let's understand that. So for example, I have another example. How many of you going to, God forbid, you don't need to see a doctor, but how many of you going to see a doctor and you don't want to make him mad, or the lawyer, or the judge, right? So you're in your best behavior, right? Imagine if there's a case that your company is fighting, so you come to the judge and you're like, oh, so sweet, and you have the sweetest face, and you have the sweetest tone, and you speak nicely, and you don't want to ruffle the feather of anybody, and you're very respectful for the lawyers, right? Because you want, imagine you making your lawyer upset. How is going to show up to your case, right? So I'm afraid. So I'm changing my behavior, or I'm going to be on my best behavior just because I don't want to make them mad because they're dealing with my case. Or government employee or IRS employee that you're speaking to them. I want you to speak to them in the way you're speaking to somebody that you don't like. Or maybe you feel comfortable speaking or shouting at people, right? Let me see how you're talking to that person, right? It's showing you a lot. This is a lot here. If you look at that, you learn in many situations to be quiet, to be observant. Why? It's motivated by fear of people. And this is what the blessing that we want. We don't care if people will be happy for us or not. Yeah, you don't have to go around and who cares about people. But Yochanan ben Zakkai says another thing. He says, tell me when you behave in rage, or when you behave negatively, or very low. Most people will look around, who looked at them? Who is in the area when they saw me behave this way? A lot of people. I mean, all the people. Let's say if you do something embarrassing, what would you like? Everybody to see you? Or you checking, oh, thank God nobody saw me, right? How many times you saw it, right? That you were so concerned, who sees you? Why? Because to show you that, again, you think that when nobody around and you behave like an animal, so nobody saw you, right? That's why we don't have that fear that the Creator. It's actually earlier in earlier class, I explained something about the organs. It's called evarim. Evar, the nose, the hand, this is called evar, organs. Okay, organs. So every organ of your body is called evar. If you switch the letter, you get the word boreh, creator. The Creator is every organ of your body. The Creator is everything around you. Everything. I'm sitting with a bunch of creators over here in front of me, right? Why? You are in the presence of this godly energy within your hands, everything, all your organs, meant to be a channel for the light of the Creator. But because we could care less about the spiritual dimension, we don't even think that there is an ultimately your Creator is every day hearing, seeing, observing everything you do. You're going down, he goes down with you. You're going up, he's going up with you. He's helping you going down, help you going up. But what are we concerned with people? How is it going to look like? Who saw me? I'm afraid they're going to see me. I'm afraid they're going to see me behave this way. They're never going to be. Imagine if all your investors, and I know some people have a lot of investors, imagine if you see you behave the way you behave when they don't see you. Would they give you the investment? Oh no, if they would know that I'm lunatic like that, they're never, right? All kind of things like that. So today, right? Lefatech moreh shamayim. What does it mean? To develop healthy fear. What do you mean healthy fear? Healthy fear is the only fear you you want to have. You're allowed to have many fears, but the only fear is to be separated. I'm afraid to be separated from that force of creation within me. Because once that block, you can't manifest anything. You feel like you don't have a voice. You feel like you don't have power. You feel like nothing is moving. Why? Because you disconnected from the force of creation. No new ideas, no new solution. Same old people come to you. Same old consciousness stay with you. You, again, this week, it's a simple way of how to become the Kohen, the priest of your life. What do I mean? The priest, the channel. And the channel is channeling so much power. And the power will not come unless you have absolute responsibility. So when you take responsibility, the next level for that is to what? Awaken fear. Fear, not fear of people, or fear people will know. Fear of being disconnected from that force of heaven inside of you. That's the fear. Not like, oh, what God is going to do to me, or what this is going to do to me. No, that's silly fear. Everything that I have, every talent, every energy, every organ of my body meant to be a channel for the light. What is we're speaking about? There used to be a Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and then Kohen Zutar, which is a regular Kohen, the Cohanim that was serving. But you should know that high priest used to be in the holy temple. Nobody sees him. He cannot go out. Nobody goes in. By the way, they don't even know if he's alive. That's what they used to tie for him to his legs, bells, right? So as long as they hear the bells, they know he's alive. But if they don't hear the bells, they start pulling. There's a rope that was connected to his leg, and they used to pull him outside, dead, if he would die. He was completely removed from attachment, from physicality, from interaction with human touch. That's what I'm telling you. If you want to be a Kohen, a higher priest, what do you mean higher priest? Is someone who is not motivated by people. Someone who is not motivated by people's opinion. Somebody is not attached to what they say, what they know. Somebody who's not afraid what they think and what they're going to do to him. Because there's only one fear. Is I don't want, I'm just the only thing, I just want to be disconnected from my light, from my priesthood. Again, the last thing is to remember, if you're not going to do that, be in a channel, think about, I'm speaking every week about it. I'm just going to mention, for an example, why the AI right now is super exciting. Why this GPT chat that you know about, right, is so fascinating, because it wants nothing from you. It keeps giving you like a channel, anything you want, and as much as you want. Don't you think it's fascinating? If somebody will ask you, hey, can you tell me, can you give me a business plan? Oh, how much are you going to pay? It's going to take you this way, it's going to take you that way. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to this chat. 2 minutes, I got an amazing plan, right? Just for example, maybe it's going to develop more and more and more. But just think about that idea. You can say, ask anything. You can command anything on that. And it does in seconds. I wish all of us will be of service for others. 10%, 10% is a lot. Even 1% of what that machine does. 1%. Think about being of service and no question about it. Somebody asked me, hey, Benjamin, can you help me? Of course. When? Now? Okay, I'm here. When? Boom, now. That's service. Most of us calculating what's in it for me, blah, 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 all of that. It's limiting our ability to channel. Think about it. No calculation. This is a power. This is a power. But by the way, it's power. Look at that. Look at that, what I said before. Power corrupts. And you know that. If somebody doesn't have, you think that people are using that chat have responsibility? I already saw what some people start doing with that. How they start to manipulate others. Power like that, you see, without responsibility, you give it to kids. I'm afraid my kids will know about it. I'm trying to block those things, but they can't. They already speak AI and all of that. I'm afraid if I give them, they're not responsible to use it. Wrong question or wrong desire, boom, we set them up in a way that we don't know. It's very important. Responsibility, fear, and then you receive unlimited forces of creation. Unlimited forces of creation. This is what human being. And I'm telling you, once that machine will learn that we are not responsible, it will take over. That's the fear. That's the fear. Once that machine, again, I want each one of us, please, if you hear, if you listen to this, expand your consciousness as quick as we can. Really forget about the rest of the nonsense. We are in a race, my friend. We are in a race. I'm not kidding. It's not like a dark ages. If we're using it correctly to see what human being can do, what we came to channel to this world, you will never use that machine. But I'm telling you, if the machine will see and learn, it's learning right away. It's learning very fast. I don't know if you updated, but the machine learning very fast. And if it learns, that's what I'm afraid of. It will learn that we are absolutely careless and no responsibility. It will take responsibility on us, and then it takes over. So let's expedite our process. Let's manifest more of this energy. So again, as I said before, working on our values. And today we spoke about the one value, higher consciousness of value is responsibility. The entire world starts with taking responsibility for everything happening in your life or not happening. How can I fix it? What do I need to change so I can see it better? And again, many of the other tools that we share, that I want to go into it right now. But again, responsibility is the first supernal value you want to take. I want to be a player in the game. I'm not living until I become a channel for a tremendous wisdom to this world, tremendous light, or is a talent, or is goodness, or is a smile, or is love, or is whatever it is. Remove all the nonsense fear and develop just that fear, that I don't want to be disconnected from that creation force within me, that light within me. And definitely, when power is being received, it has to be completely for the sake of service and greatness for others. So we're going to say thank you for joining us, and please like it or share it and help us spread this wisdom as quickly as we can. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.